Hey guys, in this video I'm just going to be showing a simple edge orientation trick, some pretty basic ZBLS type stuff, but really it just draws from Petrus and how Petrus solves EO intuitively, except in the context of a good method, aka CFOP. And this is something I use personally, and I feel like not enough people use it for one-handed, even though, especially if you know a lot of ZBLL, you get very easy last layer cases, and even if you don't know a lot of ZBLL and you just like to use COLL, you'll be getting those more often. And all in all, oriented edges is just a good time for one-handed. So the way it works, I said it draws from Petrus, and really all you're doing is you're just doing a 3 to 4 move trigger to finish up EO. And the way to recognize these cases I'm talking about, there are 2 criteria that need to be met. First thing is the F12 edge needs to be in the U layer. So in this case it's here. If it was down here you wouldn't be able to do a 4 move trigger to orient edges. And the other thing is 2 of the last layer edges, because since once an F12 there'll be 3 last layer ones. 2 of those have to already be facing up, aka oriented. And assuming those 2 criteria are met, you can use a simple 3 to 4 move trigger to orient edges. And the way you do that is you rotate such that the last layer edge that's in the F12 slot is facing you or away from you, so either here or here, but not here, like on the side, so not touching the left or right faces. And then from here you just insert this flipped edge into here, and by doing that you get your last layer edges oriented and you can just go ahead and solve your last pair. So you're only doing a few extra moves, and generally speaking, you won't be messing with your F12 pair too much, but it's also good to be smart about it and just be efficient as you can, because sometimes, there are, well actually not sometimes, all the time, there's 3 different ways you can orient these 2 pieces. You can either do IU to R prime like that, you can put this in the back and do an IU R prime, or you can put it in the front, do IU prime R prime. And you can do hedge stuff, I guess, but for one-handed I find, you'd rather just keep it 2-gen. So for this case in particular, there isn't really a wrong answer. Doing this, you get a pretty decent F12 pair. Doing this, you get a good F12 pair, probably a slightly better one. This one isn't as good because it takes a few more moves than the other 2 I mentioned, which are about 7 or 8. This one I think is about 10 if you do that solution, and I guess it's about the same as the other ones if you do that one. So really there isn't really a wrong answer for that particular case, but some other ones, for example, this case here, you have this F12 pair, you've got 2 edges on top, so that means you can do the Petrus EO trick. If I were to rotate here and do it by inserting this flipped edge to there, which is facing on the back and not left and right, I get this F12 case, which, I mean, it's not super bad, but generally I don't think people think of this as a good F12 case. Or at the very least, it's not the best one you could get. If you moved it over here and did that, you get the exact same problem. It's just a beginner method thing, and if you do the beginner method, you just misorient your edges, so you have to do some 2-gen crap. If you move this edge here, and then do the EO like so, you get a much better F12 case. So this is something good to keep in mind as you start to use this more and more. Not only just try to orient your edges for the sake of efficiency, but also orient them while keeping your F12 pair in a good state or a preferable state. And that way you can really maximize your efficiency and make the most use out of this simple EO trick. Some other cases, this one. This is already a 3-move pair, so it's debatable whether or not orienting edges is even worthwhile, because no matter what you do, you're not going to get a 3-move pair, and why not just go for that and take your chances. And then this case here, so the F12 pair is like that. If you do the EO like so, you get a case that takes a lot of moves to solve, even though it orients your edges. If you move it here and insert like that, again you get a pretty lengthy F12 case. And then if you put it in the front, you by far get the best F12 case possible. So even though there are 3 ways to do the EO at any given time, sometimes there is a correct answer, so to speak, and in this one it's definitely putting the flipped edge here and inserting it like so, and then continuing from there. So that's it for this trick. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if it makes sense, I'd love to see more people using this in their one-handed solos, because it's just a really easy way to get EO done every once in a while, and I just think that when these cases arise, there's no reason not to use it for one-handed. So that's it. Thanks for watching.